Kept you waiting, huh? Super Mario Land was a launch title for the 1989 Game Boy, and it showed off that Nintendo was not just interested in dominating the console market, but also the newly formed handheld market. Super Mario Land was, like I just said, a launch title, and was actually not made by Mr. Miyamoto, but rather a Mr. Gunpei Yokoi, who sadly isn't with us anymore, but he brought us things like, for one, inventing the Game Boy, two, he also invented the Metroid and Kid Icarus franchises, so good on him, you know? You know what else Mr. Yokoi invented? The D-pad. So give your thanks to him that companies stopped using those stupid numeric keypads. Why would you use those to control a game anyway? After Super Mario Bros. 3, Nintendo wanted to show that they could cram the same amount of detail and worlds into this tiny little brick, and boy did they really tried. They really tried. This game has 4 worlds, each with only 3 levels, and is only about 30 minutes long. Which, granted, is on par with the original Super Mario Bros. But is it any good?
Yeah, I might get crucified for saying that, but I don't think this game is that great. If anything, it's just average. It gets points for being weird and being on a handheld, but other than that, it isn't too spectacular. The controls aren't precise at all. Mario feels like he lacks any weight. He just swings around like nobody's business, especially when running or trying to do precise platforming, which the last world is chock full of. Other than being short, it's also lacking in the power-up department. You have Super Mushrooms and the Returning Starman, which is super odd because now the theme is the can of all things. Does anyone else think of the Animaniacs when they hear that song, or is it just me? Other than those two, there's the only new one, the Super Ball Flower, and this thing blows. It isn't fun to use, you shoot it straight down, it isn't accurate, and if you miss, you have to wait for it to either leave the screen or bounce itself out. I also hate how Mario looks in this game. It looks like they just took his sprites from the first one and scrunched them up in Photoshop or something. I guess I can get that story out of the way, and if I'm giving out points here, I'll give another one for originality. This is the first game to mark the debut of the lovable Princess Daisy and her kingdom of Sarasaland. The evil alien known as Tatanga, yes, there are now aliens in this world, has come and decided to make Daisy his queen. To, I don't know, rule over space? I guess it's just a law that monarchies have to have a king and a queen. So now, Mario must travel through the world of Sarasaland by making his way through the Birabuto, Muda, Easton, and Chai kingdoms, where Tatanga and his forces are held up. He's also hypnotized the entire population to do his bidding. Bowser could never. Birabuto Kingdom is Egyptian themed. Muda is mountain and water themed. Easton is Eastern Island themed, with elaborate cave systems, totems, and moai heads everywhere. Finally, the Chai Kingdom, can you guess, is Chinese or Japanese themed, with lots of bamboo, rivers, and castles. The final levels of World 2 and 4 are also both auto-scrollers that turn into a shoot-'em-up with Mario piloting the Marine Pop and the Sky Pop, respectively. I didn't know Mario had a submarine and pilot's license, but I suppose you learn something new every day. These segments are certainly the most original, but they really come out of nowhere. Whereas I was just platforming, now I have to learn a totally new playstyle and new mechanics. The levels aren't hard, but they feel half-assed. It was as if they really wanted to embrace the shmup mechanics, but they weren't allowed to. So at the end of World 4, Mario fights this weird guy who hides inside a cloud and makes lamb noises similar to that one sound from Tetris. But once he's taken care of, the music revs up, and Tatanga himself appears in a spaceship. He flies up and down and shoots projectiles that can block your shot and split it into 3. But other than that, he's a complete pushover. Especially if you get him stuck in a pattern. Once he's taken care of, his entire Sky Fortress explodes, but miraculously there's still a tiny part left where Daisy's being held. And the two of them escape, not on the airplane that Mario just came here on, but a rocket ship. The credits music plays, which is probably my favorite piece in the game, and that ends that. Before I wrap it up, I wanted to go into a bit more detail on things like music and enemies. The enemies in this game are out of control. You won't find Goombas, Piranha Plants, or Koopa Troopas here. There's lookalikes, but every enemy here is original. Chichibos and Nokopons are essentially Goombas and Koopas, but here the Nokopons explode when you jump on them. There's jumping ninja soldiers, thwomp spiders, weird robot dudes that throw their head at you, totem heads with wings, giant flies, evil fish skeletons that are apparently the dinner of Tatanga that were then put right back to work, and even horrible moai heads with arms and legs that run at you full sprint that come out of nowhere. Originality is certainly the best thing this game has going for it, and oh god, no, you can't be serious! They're here too? The bosses here are utterly pathetic. They don't feel like final challenges at all. In fact, they aren't even a challenge. You can actually just run right past them and not fight them at all. quick note before I get into the music, the level design is where you can tell the devs really got lazy. Multiple areas that were just cut and pasted, large gaps of land that are nothing but hovering platforms, and dozens of times where they just throw enemies at you and give you a Starman so you can run right through them. These levels are so short, it makes you wonder why you get so much time to run through them. The bonus I get at each end of the level is always huge. It isn't until World 4 does the length of these stages actually mean something. Anyway, the music is definitely the second best thing about this game. While there's only about 5 tracks, the overworld and ending themes are the best. The bonus room and boss room themes are repetitive and ear-grating, and the only other song in the game is that one underground piece that you only remember because it's in the Subspace Emissary from Smash Bros. Brawl. Though I will say the Chai Kingdom theme is fantastic, and even inspired a song from the Ambassadors of Funk, a part of the Super Mario Bros. Compact Disco.
Okay, I'll give that to Nintendo. Super Mario Land was a pretty big, colossal success, despite its overall mediocrity. But when money's made, sequels are sure to follow. So in 1992, we got that sequel with the release of Super Mario Land 2, The 6 Golden Coins.
Just like last time, Gunpei Yokoi was put in charge of the second portable adventure. After the success of the Game Boy was no longer a question, a sequel to Mario Land was requested. The 3 years in between games certainly paid off as innovations from Super Mario World were able to be taken and implemented here. Mario's now rocking his sprites from that game, and even has the spin jump. He basically has all of his moves from that game. His controls have also been refined. Not on the level of, say, Mario 3 or World, but significantly better than the first game, though hit detection can still be a little bit wonky. The art direction here blows the original out of the water, and the expressive sprites and art are definitely on par with Mario 3, while also managing to one-up it in the originality and imagination department. It's like they gave the keys to this game to a bunch of kids, and just let them run loose. The story here is that while Mario was off saving Daisy from Tatanga, his childhood friend and rival Wario saw this as an opportunity to take over Mario's castle on the nearby island of Mario Land, right off the coast of the Mushroom Kingdom. I suppose that after collecting 5 games worth of coins, he decided to trade up from a dinky little cottage. This was the first game to feature Wario, the garlic-loving and treasure-hunting fiend that is constantly a rival to Mario and always tries to be one step ahead of him. Using a powerful spell, Wario put the main inhabitants of Mario Land under his command, scattered the 6 golden coins that power the front door to Mario's castle, and had his minions guard the 6 main zones of the island. Mario now has to get the coins, save the island, and stop Wario.
Obey Wario, destroy Mario.
Unlike the previous title, this game sports a world map to travel along in a very non-linear fashion. You can tackle any of the 6 zones in any order you want. Do you go for the tree zone first to get accustomed to the controls and learn what power-ups you like best? Or do you go the opposite way and take on something like the pumpkin or the Mario zone?
The choices are yours and yours alone.
On top of that, some zones even have alternate paths, so there's all kinds of ways of getting those gold coins. Much like a Sonic game, the zones that Mario travels through all range in difficulty, but I never found the game to be overtly hard. There's nothing here that'll make you want to tear your hair out. The overall difficulty is very comfortable, and since you can choose what order to reclaim the golden coins, your adventure can either be a walk in the park, or heading to school, but it's slightly sprinkling outside. Something that makes this game easy is the abundance of coins and power-ups. They're practically handing these things to you like candy, and there should never be a time when you're really hurting for a pick-me-up. Just like in the original game, 1-up mushrooms are replaced with hearts, and if you get to the top of the end goal, you can play a minigame to score even more extra lives or power-ups. Power-ups in question are great. They ditched the Super Ball for the returning Fire Flower, this time sporting a neat little cape feather in his hat. New to this game is the Magic Carrot, which transforms you into Bunny Mario, and this thing takes the game and cracks it in half. Not only can you jump higher and longer, but if you mash the button, you can hover in place with a much slower descent. This neuters any and all platforming challenges, and to top it all off, they give it to you in almost every level! There's also Bomb Mario, but it's not really a power-up as much as it is a way to delete your save file. Mushrooms and Starman are back, but the theme that plays when you nab one isn't the can-can anymore, but it's still a catchy beat regardless. Enemies here range from your standard Goombas and Koopas, which I imagine were very happy not to be left out here, but Piranha Plants, Cheep Cheeps, and even Boos make a comeback. The rest of them, though, totally original. Killer ants, frogs, giant birds, pigs that shoot cannonballs out of their mouths, toy soldiers, spiky hedgehog creatures, skeleton bees, spiked slugs, exploding turtles, which kind of returned from Mario Land, and dozens more! I wasn't kidding when I said this was the most original game in the whole series. The originality even extends to the boss fights. Each one of them are unique. In the tree zone, you fight a giant bird. In the macro zone, which places you in the house of a giant, you fight a horned mouse. In the pumpkin zone, you fight the wicked witch. In the space zone, you fight Tatanga again, who I suppose wanted a rematch, but since he's never hurt again after this game, I imagine he went home and learned his lesson. And there's a space zone! This game predates Mario Galaxy by what, 15 years? In the colossal Metal Gear Mario zone, you fight the 3 little pigs, which is really odd if you think about it. And in the turtle zone, you enter a sunken submarine, then go inside a whale and fight a treasure-hogging squid. But once that's all over, you take the fight right to Wario's doorstep and storm what was once your castle. However, Wario took the liberty to add a few of his own upgrades to home security, so getting to him won't be that easy. After making it past the huge spikes, lava pits, and giant Wario fists, you make it to your greatest challenge. This weird ball with Wario's face on it. Anyway, you beat the ball and then make it to another room where...
This is getting out of hand. Now there are 2 of them.
Then you beat them a second time, and finally, you're up against Wario. While this battle starts out like all the rest, after the 3rd hit, he is not over. Wario's been watching you carefully and uses your own power-ups against you. This is a concept that I think is super cool, and I don't think it would be utilized again until, Meowser in Super Mario 3D World? That and Super Mario 3D Land, but Bowser doesn't really use the Super Leaf, just as minions do. Anyway, after dealing with Bunny and Fire Wario, he finally shrinks down and runs away after kicking his shoe and blowing raspberries. The castle corrects itself, a flag of peace is raised, and the credits roll.
Like I mentioned before, Mario Land 2 is obviously the better game between the two, and deserves to go down in history as being just as good as a platformer as Mario 3 and Super Mario World are, in my opinion anyway. I'm not sure why I put the game down when I first picked it up. I probably just, picked up a harder zone than usual and played that one first and put it down because I couldn't, I got stuck or something. I hope this review has shined some light on this game, maybe let you or your friends know that this game deserves to be appreciated and is good. I know I was really hard on the first game, but I think it's just because, after you're blown away by something as good as Mario 3, you expect the follow-up to be just as good, if not better. I know it was on a portable system, but I'm reviewing the game that was given to me, and I just found the first game to be really mediocre. It has its charm, like I said, the music is probably the best part about it next to how original everything is, but again, the second game does that even better. It's more original, the music is way catchier, and each level, each world has their own theme song, so, it just beats it in every possible regard, so I can't help but be hard on the first game because every game before and after just outshines it so much. It's an awful shame that Mario isn't weird anymore like he was back then, But it's not as big as a shame as the fact that Daisy is not allowed to be in any other mainline games anymore, because Miyamoto hates everything he did not create. At least Wario got away, but he's kind of stuck, in microgame purgatory. Due for another Wario Land game. Make way forward, make it. I didn't want to end this on a negative note, so let me just announce that next time we meet, we'll finally be taking the next step forward into 16-bit territory. We may have been playing with power already, but now we're going to be playing with superpower.